Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Hope you guys are sitting comfortably in front of your screens, and welcome to this postgraduate information session. My name is Dr. Lurian de Mello, and I'm the Program Director for the Bachelor of Applied Finance, and I'm also involved in the Master of Banking and Finance degree. So I would like to welcome you all, and I would like to spend the next few minutes giving you a bit of insight into what is it that we do in the Master of Banking and Finance. So the program, pretty much, we have two master's programs. So one is the Master of Banking and Finance, and the other one is the Master of Commerce Finance. So the Master of Banking and Finance is a specialist program. It tries to prepare students to work in a professional area in banking. And the Master of Commerce Finance is more sort of a broader sort of degree where you have opportunities to do courses in economics, in marketing, in management, and you also have a capstone subject that covers a broader sort of business issues. So the focus of today's presentation is going to be more on the Master of Banking and Finance. If you have any questions on the presentation today, can you kindly upload your questions towards the end, and we will do our best to answer them as they come along. So the Master of Banking and Finance has a gateway. So the gateway units are pretty much units that you need to complete if you have no prior experience in doing a finance degree. Overall, the degree does not require to have any background in finance. You could have a degree in any discipline. So the gateway units generally tend to be, you could get a recognition of prior learning where you could be exempted from doing these units. So the duration of the program is usually 1 to 2 years, but depending on your recognition of prior learning, you might not have to do these gateway units. But we do cover the principles of finance. We cover financial statement analysis and modeling. So here you actually taught how to make use of the financial statements, the financial data that you have in annual reports, and how you could use that for forecasting, for example. Econometrics and business statistics are very valuable skills in the industry, and also economic analysis. So economics is something that is important, so we cover microeconomics and macroeconomics in those subjects. I guess you guys will be looking at various options at various institutions in undertaking a master's degree in finance or banking and finance. But what is it that we do that's different at Macquarie? And I would like to focus the presentation on these aspects. So under the advanced unit of study section, we have the first 4 units there. The first one says current issues in banking and finance. So that is a capstone unit, which I was personally involved in developing, where we had a whole bunch of practitioners who are teaching in the subject. So these are from various banks. I will get onto that in a few minutes. We also have a professional development in banking and finance, and I think that's very unique. This is where students are exposed to industry professionals, where they are given guidance on how to develop CVs, how to prepare for interviews, what are some of the opportunities that are available in the banking and finance field. So this is something that I've not really come across any other master's programs in Australia. So banking and financial intermediation. So this is a specialist banking unit. And we also have a unit on research in banking and finance. And this subject pretty much goes through a whole range of literature. What is the current regulation, and how perhaps if you have intentions to do a PhD or a master's by research, you would get a bit of flavor in this subject on what the latest academic literature is focusing on. And then we have our standard corporate finance, investments, and capital markets units, which you might be familiar with. And in addition to these advanced units of study, you also have 5 elective units, and these involve a bank and finance internship. So at Macquarie, we are very much focused on getting practical exposure and practical experience incorporated into the degree. So this is a great opportunity as well. and you have a whole list of subjects that you could do across some other disciplines. So the Master of Commerce Finance is a more sort of a broader degree. Here, again, there are gateway units that you need to complete, but I guess the focus here is a sort of a broader area. So you could do law, you could do accounting. So if you're looking for opportunities to work in a sort of a broader set of areas of commerce, then this would be a more ideal program for you. So I guess what is it that's involved in the Masters of Banking and Finance? So it's practically relevant. We do not sacrifice the academic rigor. We do discuss some of the latest academic work that does take place in the banking and finance field. We are highly engaged with industry practitioners, so they are directly involved in our teaching. So that gives the students, I guess, helps them to be on the forefront of what the industry really needs. So as I mentioned, the capstone unit is developed and taught by industry professionals. So they set projects for the students in anticipation that students would hit the ground running upon graduation. So this is usually done in the final semester. Students also do, as I mentioned, the professional development unit. So that is, again, very unique to Macquarie. And the research unit, again, is a gateway to the Master of Research and a PhD program. So the program itself is offered at the North Ryde campus and also at the City campus. So as you might have read, the Faculty of Business and Economics is the largest faculty at Macquarie University. Macquarie itself is ranked in the top 100 universities worldwide in accounting and finance. So that is a great achievement. And I guess our banking and finance programs, the lecturers that we have do have industry background. For example, we have one lecturer who has actually worked for the Australian Prudential Regulation Authority. So this is a regulatory body that monitors the banks. So and he's had vast amount of experience. So he's involved in teaching some of the units. So again, we do have industry professionals, but we also have academics with great industry background and also the academic rigor to put you on the forefront of the latest work that's been done in banking and finance. So I guess personally, I have been involved in the degree from the capstone perspective. So this was not an easy task, but I was very fortunate enough to recruit some really top-notch people in Sydney. For example, you can see on the slide there, Patrick Mitchell, who is the head of treasury of Rabobank. It's one of the biggest banks in the Netherlands, and they do have a big office over here in Sydney. Kevin Nixon, who is a well sought after speaker, and he is pretty much on the forefront of bank regulation. So he's a partner at Deloitte. He's in risk advisory. So he, for example, this semester spoke a lot about fintechs, spoke about bank regulation and how the banking industry is going to look moving forward. Joseph Lau is a director of project finance at Commonwealth Bank of Australia. But Joseph, if you Google his name, you'll actually see that Joseph is actually the current world Excel modeling champion, 2 years running, so 2015 and 2016. So he teaches our students really key financial modeling skills. Again, looking in the area of project finance, given that there's a lot of construction taking place, a lot of projects taking place. Actually understanding project finance can actually open doors to a lot of jobs in this area. And we also have Michael Schwak. He's also from the Netherlands, but he is actually a fund manager at Macquarie Bank. So he's again has a lot of academic experience. He did his master's in econometrics in Rotterdam at the famous Erasmus School. So he has actually, I guess, has the academic rigor plus the practical experience, which is a very unique combination for a practitioner. So these are some of the things that we do offer to our students. So every week we have a different lecturer, and I guess it really exposes the students to different areas of employment. So I'll just touch on a bit of the facilities that we have at Macquarie. We have a state-of-the-art library that has fantastic online resources. I guess we have financial databases, we have Thomson Reuters, we have a Bloomberg terminal, and a lot of financial data that you can get access to from the library. We have very strong support systems in terms of student support and for your well-being, employment, careers hub. So we have, I guess, something that when I studied, I didn't really have so many fantastic services. So the student services is really top-notch at Macquarie, and I think Macquarie really prides on that. And I guess in terms of your degree, we have a state-of-the-art finance lab being built. So we've signed up with Thomson Reuters to provide the data and a few other key vendors that the industry looks up to. So that's going to give you that extra benefit and extra edge in terms of completing and doing certain activities using these financial databases. So this is something that you can put on your CV, and I'm sure it's going to reap some rewards. So going back to the previous slides, I mentioned about the city location. So we have a new city campus. It's on Pitt Street. So Pitt Street is famous for shopping, but also has a state-of-the-art campus located there. So your master's degree, the Master of Banking and Finance degree, is going to be run concurrently at North Ryde and the city campus. So if there's a day class that takes place, it's going to be held also at the city campus. So more vibrant, you have more opportunities to I guess, network with people in the city. So what are some of the graduate opportunities from doing a Master's of Banking and Finance? Now, given that the degree does not require you to have any prior experience or study in finance, I guess you could work in an entry-level position in corporate finance. For example, if you want to work with capital raising, you could work in the corporate finance division of a firm. Funds management, if you're interested in portfolio management or managing funds, this is an area that you could work in. Risk management, I guess, has a very broad sort of opportunities there. You could work in a quantitative side of things, or you could be working on managing the bank's risks. And I guess other opportunities, for example, include government and regulatory bodies. So having an understanding of bank regulation, bank management, could give an entry level to government and regulatory bodies that monitor banks. So there are plenty of opportunities, given that it's a combination of not just banking, but also doing a lot of the standard finance stuff that we have in our degree. So I guess, again, enhancing your employability, I mean, that's very key. At the end of the day, after your degree, we all need a job. And I guess, really having those technical skills and generic skills through the capstone program, really being on the forefront of really understanding what the industry really requires, I think that's very important. Of course, as I would like to emphasize, we still keep the academic rigor in the program. So we are very applied. All the projects that we do and all the assignments that we give to our students are pretty much on the forefront. We expose students to a whole range of areas that one could work in, and that's really the strong point. So as I've mentioned, there's no previous work experience that's required for this degree. You could have a prior degree in any discipline, and that's the reason we have the foundation units or the gateway units that'll give you all that necessary background. And we have diverse backgrounds of students. I mean, it's amazing to listen to various students and how they end up in our master's program. And I guess, we are all encouraged to actively participate in this learning experience. And I hope the information session is something that you would be, you found useful. So if you have any questions, please do not feel shy to upload them, and we will be quite happy to answer.